The title of Brad's speech today is What's Your True Test of Leadership? And as we know, at 8 a.m. this morning, Brad had a eureka moment in the shower, and it popped in his mind the answer to that question, what's your true test of leadership? It's working with youth. I'm trying to read Brad's handwriting. Working with youth. It could have been. Youth? Youth. There's an H in there somewhere. Youth. Youth. So today, Bradley Beck, distinguished Toastmaster, will share his experiences working with young people. You may find his opening a bit unorthodox. I think we already found your introduction unorthodox. Yet there is a purpose to the pandemonium. The true test of leadership. Please welcome Brad Beck.
Three scenarios. Scenario number one. I have a little seed. I put it in the ground. I covered it with earth, and I watered it around. Up comes the stem, and out come the leaves, and up pops the flower that comes from the seed. Flowers come in many colors from all around the world. Flowers give good feelings to all the boys and girls. Scenario number two, thank you. Scenario number two. Spell your name with your backside. B, R, A, D, Brad.
Thank God for short names.
If you're William, you're in trouble. Scenario number three. A wise and frugal government, which shall restrain men from injuring one another, shall leave them otherwise free to regulate the pursuit of their own industry and improvement, and shall not take from the mouth of labor the bread it has earned. Thomas Jefferson in his inaugural speech. These are three scenarios. What do they have to do with leadership? Well, the true test of leadership in my little mind is working with youth. There is nothing scarier than working with a bunch of little preschoolers or sophomores going into their junior year. Let me share with you those three examples. The first example happens to be when I was part of a program called Growing Up with Flowers. The Growing Up with Flowers program was a task given to a group of individuals like myself and a group called Young Executives. We were the up-and-coming young Turks of the floral industry. And the board of directors in our organization said, go forth and improve consumption of flowers with no money. A great task. The beef board, buy beef, what's for dinner? The almond board, a can a week is all we ask. The flower industry, crickets, crickets, crickets. So we decided to do a grassroots program on teaching young people about flowers. We would work with our distributors and our growers to provide fresh flowers in containers for retail florists to go into the flower industry and into schools, into public libraries, a variety of venues, and teach young people about flowers. Think about it. What's the first time many of you have had an experience with flowers? There's grandmother laid out prone at a funeral, and flowers all around her. A negative experience, I'd say, although flowers are comforting to those around. Or perhaps dad bought mom flowers for Valentine's Day or Mother's Day. Don't touch the flowers, another negative experience. So we wanted to give children an opportunity to work with flowers, play with flowers, to grow up with flowers. We developed a coloring book and a variety of other materials for teachers to use and for retail florists to go in and create relationships. The Growing Up with Flowers program. The second scenario I share with you, the spelling your name with the backside, was when I had an opportunity to be a facilitator for the Hobie program, Hugh O'Brien Youth Leadership. Now, for those of you who don't know Hugh O'Brien, he was the actor in Wyatt Earp, right? Remember that, Dave? Wyatt Earp was a great Western in the 50s. Hugh O'Brien at the height of his days was so in demand that he would go around the country and do what they would call casuals, and they would have rodeos, and he would be the guest of honor. He was wealthy, good-looking, was unattached, had all the money in the world. One day he received an envelope when he was up in Calgary, a notice from Dr. Albert Schweitzer, the famous doctor in Africa. And it was an invitation to come to Africa to visit him, to see what they were doing, what his hospital, how it was changing people's lives. So Hugh took him up on that invitation, went to Africa, spent 9 days, and then at the last day, Hugh O'Brien was sitting around the campfire with Hugh O'Brien and Dr. Schweitzer, and they had a discussion. And Dr. Schweitzer said, well, Hugh, you've been here for a while now. What do you think? He says, pretty amazing what you're doing with no refrigeration, with no help, with limited funds. Dr. Schweitzer turned to Hugh O'Brien and said, now what are you going to do, Hugh? And Hugh thought a moment and said, I really don't know. I could start a hospital, give money away. And yet Dr. Schweitzer said, Hugh, why don't you work with young people? You'll change the culture. So in 1959, Hugh O'Brien came back to America and started the Hobie program, teaching young people how to think, not what to think. And I was a fortunate individual to be there for 5 years as a facilitator and on their board of directors. An incredible experience, a summer camp that I never had as an adult. That third experience, Liberty Day. I'm a proud member of the Optimist Club of Erie. And in Erie, Colorado, we participate in a variety of activities. And Liberty Day was one that I was fortunate enough to participate in. A couple years ago in Denver, they had the International Convention for the Optimist International. And so I had the opportunity to meet a gentleman by the name of Andy McBean. And Andy started Liberty Day as a way to teach young people around the country about our Constitution. The state of Colorado mandates that 5th graders must learn about the Constitution in school. So Liberty Day is an opportunity for individuals to participate in a program teaching young people about our greatest document, the Constitution and the Declaration. I'm fortunate that Brian Cutzinger and Mike Shelton have joined me in that venture, going into the schools, talking to young people, and really helping them understand what our documents are, what our founding principles are, and to sharing a Constitution. And the neat thing about our Constitution is you can open it up and there's 24 questions that these young people can test their parents and their friends in their sphere of influence. These are 3 examples of things that I've done. The true test of leadership to me is working with young people. Because if we can each influence those young minds coming behind us, we have an opportunity to change the culture. We have an opportunity to really make a difference in the discussion that goes on. As Hugh O'Brien often said, it's not what you think, it's how you think. Madam Toastmaster.